Hello and welcome to the Damn Show special election coverage. Thank you all for joining us. My co-host Andy Hall is going to join me, and we're going to talk about some elections. Joe Biden won. Can you believe it? Look at the little graphic over there. I made that by myself, all by myself, alone and scared. Joe Biden won, man. That's awesome. Kamala Harris, the first female vice president of color, even. That's all very cool. We're going to talk more about that right after this. Maybe right after this. Today's world is confusing, and there's too much information for one person to make sense of it all. Which credit card should I pay off first? Is non-fat milk good for me? Who should I vote for? Let's face it, if you can't figure out high-interest milk, then how can you be expected to make political decisions that influence a country of over 325 million people? Well, that's why there's fascism. Fascism is the political, social, and economic system for today's world. The Merriam-Webster dictionary defines fascism as a political philosophy, movement, or regime that exalts a nation, and often race, above the individual, and that stands for a centralized autocratic government headed by a dictatorial leader, severe economic and social regimentation, and forcible suppression of the opposition. Choose this ideology and life will be easy. Did you ever look at someone who uses really big words and think, I wish those libtards would just disappear? Well, under fascism, your dreams can come true. Under fascism, you won't have to worry about the pesky little things like brown people or atheists, or who in your country is entitled to basic human rights and who is not. Hint, hint, the answer is nobody. Yes, friends, this truly is the final solution you've been looking for. And if you're concerned if this form of authoritarianism will be up to your high standards, don't worry. American fascism will be the best fascism in the world because it's been endorsed by Jesus. So go out and destroy freedom and democracy by getting fascism today. Paid for by the Fascio Conservative Party, formerly known as the GOP. All right, thank you all for joining us. I hope you enjoyed that little commercial. Andy wrote it. I did the voice and did some funny stuff.
The speaky thing.
I did the speaky thing. I hope you're all having a wonderful night, a wonderful weekend. Yay! We did it. We did it. You know, I mean, I did it. You did it. What was your job in doing it? My job was to vote and use whatever voice I have to tell other people to do what, Andy? To vote.
To vote.
Vote. Vote. And that's what I did. I did my duty. Andy, did you do your duty? I said duty.
I did duty. But you know what I find strange and amazing in all of this, Chris?
What's that?
I find that thoughts and prayers, it isn't a campaign strategy that you can win on. And that might just be a pro tip for the evangelicals. Thoughts and prayers.
Yeah. True enough.
It doesn't work for school shootings or for winning elections. Sorry about that.
Good point. You know, I want to point out a lot of people are, they're like, how did it get so close? How could that, is America really that bad that almost half? No, it wasn't almost half. What the deal was you had just unabashed, unashamed, bald-faced voter suppression all across this country in any fashion that the GOP and the conservatives could find. That there would have been so many more votes had the people not been stifled throughout the country. So it wasn't nearly as even as people want us to believe. I'm just saying.
The vote isn't over right now, and it looks like Joe Biden has a bit over 75 million votes. Trump has, about 70,700,000. So, Biden's ahead by 4 million. I don't know. Maths is not my strong point, but around there. Yeah. And by the time the vote's over, it's going to be, Biden's going to be having a larger win, a larger margin of win on that. And, when you think about the Electoral College, by the time everything shakes out, Biden's going to have 306 electoral votes. And by the way, that just happens to be the same amount Trump got in 2016.
That's what I've heard. Yeah,
a little bit of irony
there.
What I've heard. If I understand that word correctly.
Surprise.
Indeed.
Before I forget, let me say hello to everybody who's joining us. Seeski, first time I've seen that name joining us in the chat. Thank you for joining us. Lisa for Truth. Hello, Lisa. I've seen you around a bit. Heard you on somebody else's show. Nice to see you. Tioga, the Blazing Wizard Probe, the Lone Wanderer's Bunker, Critical Cripple, Woof Dave, Woof. Thank you all for joining us across all the Facebook pages or YouTube pages. And we're also streaming to Facebook. I'm not streaming to the podcast, but we are streaming to the Facebook, YouTube, and to the TrumpFamilyTreason.com website.
Indeed.
So, yes. So, hello to everybody. Thank you all for joining us. We just want to talk about Biden for a little bit. We're going to hear whenever Biden speaks at 8 o'clock Eastern. We're going to put it up on the screen, and we're going to watch his speech, and we're going to evaluate after that and talk about it. And then we're going to be watchful because Trump is likely to be saying and thinking and doing stuff.
I want to answer Critical Cripple. He was on my channel asking me if I'm optimistic yet. And I would say guarded optimism. Sure, I have guarded optimism. I think as skeptics, skepticism isn't just a toolbox of logic and knowing your logical fallacies. I think a fair amount of skepticism is based on being able to manage your own limbic system, your own emotions, so to speak. And so at this point, am I happy? Sure I am. Do I think the fight's over about this election? I definitely do not. I will not be sleeping quietly in my bed until January 20th, which is Inauguration Day.
That's right. Right. There's,
I'm taking a little victory lap. I'm happy. My girlfriend drank a bottle of champagne for the two of us. So yeah, they're celebrating over here in the Hall household.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, we are too. The wife has been working all day. She was at work whenever the news came in, and I haven't got to celebrate with her yet. But we're waiting. I'm waiting for her to come home. She'll be home probably during Biden's speech. She'll get home about that time, and we'll get to. I've got it set up. Matter of fact, everything's backwards so she can watch while we do the show. So I'm excited. I don't know. I'm loving the whole Kamala thing. I'm really enjoying all the boundaries she's breaking. I know that there's going to be some racist and misogynistic bastards out there who are going to be very upset for no other reason than the fact that she's a woman and that she's of color.
Well, let's face it. They will hate us no matter or what. They have institutions within our society like Fox News, for example, and evangelical pulpits in hundreds, no thousands of churches around our country to spew out hate and lies about our side. So they're going to hate us anyway. We might as well give them a good reason to hate us. And if that is a multiracial vice president, I'm very happy about that.
Yeah, just let them hate us.
Just let them hate us.
They can hate me for that.
Just wait till the cabinet positions come out too. The idea that Senator Warren could be Secretary of the Treasury. Mm-hmm. I cannot tell you how much I just want to put on Fox News at that point if this happens and just watch their heads explode.
Watch their heads explode. It's like a politigasm. Right here. I had a politigasm.
Politigasm?
A politigasm. Yes, indeed. While we were doing our commercial, somebody hit us up with a super chat. I never got to see. I just heard it because of the commercial blocks. I want to say thank you to whomever supported the channel for however much channel. I can go look in other places later on, but thank you. We appreciate it. Now, I want to real quick address something that somebody said over here on your chat. In fact, Havoc says the GOP has the GOP has a dangerous gamble to pick right now. Stop Trump or let him go crazy and try to destroy democracy. I think the latter will crush their chances at the two senators. All right, now see, that's a wonderful point. Now, part of the deal is that will they go with Trump? If he's going to go and try to do a coup or try to do the second civil war, will they go with him? It depends, I think, on what he has on them or what Russia. They're either got bought out or they are being blackmailed to go this far. If they don't, thank you very much for the 50 Danish crowns of support from the Blazing Wizard Pope. There you go. I saw it over there. And let me look over there and see if I can find it. But that's what they're doing, and that's a bunch of shit. Andy?
So it's an interesting situation about Trump and the GOP, as Havoc 69217 stated. Yes. I want to back up a little bit and
not to be confused with Havoc 2839. Sorry.
Thank you. But the question that starts, formulating in my head, or started formulating in my head, hours ago, is that why hasn't Trump created even more chaos up until now? Because he could have. He knew he was losing in the polls, right?
Well,
so he could have called people out, his people, Proud Boys, militias, and he could have sent them enough dog whistles to have created real chaos at the polls. But he chose not to. He chose not to, and so and that was a choice. It wasn't like he couldn't do it. He could have easily, just with a series of tweets, mobilized his people and had him go out and really cause trouble.
And I believe that's what we're going to get this evening. I think part of the reason why that didn't happen, and I could be wrong because I was wrong about a couple of things. We'll go over that later. I'll make a list, but he may call them out this evening. Right now, though, I've heard the scuttlebutt that he didn't know he was losing. He really did think he was going to win.
That's a lie.
Truly surprised. Well, see, that's kind of what I think too.
Because he was playing. But
after all the effort they went through, right?
He knew that he was going to lose in 2016. He was ready to go on vacation, and it surprised him.
Yeah. See, that's the whole deal. That they were that he could go on and do that and pretend like I don't know, man. Did he? I think he believed that after all this time and all this effort and all this riling up his base and all this voter suppression that he really, really had a shot. And he got 70 plus million votes. So, had it not been for the phenomenal outpouring, as Andy guy likes to say, had we not had the coronavirus and the outpouring that it probably brought us, he probably would have walked away with this one.
So I would say that the reason, so we have two options, right? With why didn't Trump call out his people before the election and during the election? It's either he, and this is going to sound really silly, and it's going to remind us of different arguments about God and why God prevents evil or doesn't prevent evil going on in the world. It's either Trump couldn't call people out and cause disruption, or he wouldn't. Now it's clear that he could. So that means he wouldn't. He made a choice not to call them out. So the question is why?
Why?
And I'm thinking it's either he had conversations with people behind the scenes and they said, here are the lines. Here are the lines, and you cannot cross these particular lines because things will happen.
That may be the case.
And I'm just a pleb, right? I'm just a pleb like most, like 99% of us, and not privy to these hooligan comedy. How's it going in my chat? But it's either he had someone tell him, you cannot do this or things will happen to you. Or another interesting option is that he wants out. He wants out. Being president, even as an F-up like he is, and he is an F-up president, right? That he realizes at some point that the trouble isn't worth it and that he's going to make a lot more money, maybe out of office, than he is in office, and that he's going to have his own cable network and he's going to run his own show, and he's still going to be a loudmouth bully that he loves to be. And he already has his base. So I think it's either he was told not to, or he's gassed out and he has made a choice that he's going to do better. He's gonna take the risk for all the lawsuits, and you don't know either. Maybe people have told him it's highly unlikely that you're going to get prosecuted by certain parties if you leave gracefully. Even if you just shoot your mouth off. Sure, shoot your mouth off, right?
That's possible.
You can shoot your mouth off, but leave office without things happening, and we'll go easy on you, and that's your out.
Okay. That's a very interesting.
So it's so that's the reason. So that's what I've come up with. Maybe other people can tell me I'm wrong or full of crap, but the reason why he hasn't caused more trouble than he has already is because people told him he couldn't, or that he is ready to leave.
Okay. All right. Well, I'll go on mine then. I think a good hunk of the reason why he hasn't already was because he didn't think he was going to have to, because he thought he was going to win. And now there's a panic going on. I've heard from several different sources that there's panic going on in the back end of the White House because they didn't have enough legal measures prepared, and they're kind of dropping the ball legally. And Jared Kushner or whatever, they're panicking. They're caught off guard. partly because they weren't prepared. They, remember, and I was wrong in some area during the show. I was said they were the difference between Trump's administration and the Nazi Party was that the Trump is backed by Russia's intellectually. And, the Nazis kind of collapsing on themselves because of their own ignorance and stupid things that they did. And Trump wouldn't fall for those things because he was backed by, I was wrong. Yeah. Look at the things he did during the election that shot himself in the foot, telling his people not to vote by mail.
Yep.
And now he's surprised, that just all the things he did wrong.
Yeah. The strongest argument about Trump, against the idea of Trump being completely cut off with reality, is once again Bob Woodward and those conversations Bob Woodward had with Trump about coronavirus, where Trump said, I knew how bad it was going to be, but I decided to lie anyway. So that really has tempered my opinion about what Trump knows and what he doesn't know. He's an idiot, don't get me wrong, but he knows a lot more than what he lets on to be. As a person who pretends to be an idiot, Chris, many, many times, I'm only like maybe a very small percentage of the idiot that I pretend to be. And I'm like a big idiot. I pretend to be a big idiot. And my actual idiot is like this. So there's like the comparison there. So, yeah. So I think Trump knew that he was going to lose. I think the people around him knew he was going to lose. Trump was saying things. Yeah, I just had the smell that he thought he was going to lose.
As we go forward in the night, though, we'll see the difference. As we go forward, we'll see. And I believe that he's already talking about he did not lose.
Well, he has to say that.
Lose.
He has to say that.
Well,
to keep his.
Say that whenever he starts telling the senators that and the governors that and the militia that, and that's what's going to happen tonight, I think, after Joe Biden's speech. We're going to start seeing some of those things. And Ted Cruz and Lindsey Graham are already falling in line. Fortunately, though, and much to their credit, Fox News appears to be going, hello, President Biden.
Yeah. Well, what's funny?
I've been watching their side.
We were watching CNN. My girlfriend and I, we were watching CNN. And Rick Santorum, who is like the token conservative on the panel there, it was as if Rick was really confused about how to deal with things because he still hadn't gotten the talking points yet on what to say. So he was kind of like floundering around about voting and not counting or Republicans not doing that badly. So they were really, the Republicans right now are probably just typing out the new bullet points for all of them to start droning on about tomorrow, because tomorrow's the Sunday talk shows. And so they're going to have to figure out what kind of new lies to spew out and how to spin this. And like I said, the politicians, the people who just won office, they don't have to worry about getting reelected. So they can shoot their mouths off all they want about supporting Trump. But are they really going to support him? Yeah, especially if they think that Trump's on his way out. I don't want to sound too optimistic on this whole theory that Trump wants to leave, but I think that's my pet theory. That's my guess.
Yeah, I don't know that he can think he can do all these things and just get away with it, and he's just gonna scot-free skip out of office.
What country do you live in, Chris?
This one, yeah.
This country where the vast majority of criminals, whether they're cops, they're priests, or they're on Wall Street, they just walk away clean. So the idea that Trump just walks away clean out of this, it's not an impossibilty.
It really should be. We have got
I agree.
so much evidence
totally agree.
of so many things: tax evasion, Hatch Act, infractions. We've got that on video. Emoluments clause. There are so many things that we could go after this guy for. He needs to. Otherwise, they'll do it again. They'll just keep doing it. You've got to. That's the whole purpose of the punishment part of crime and punishment, right?
Sure. Like I said, once you've actually won, now that the Democrats have won, and once we've talked many times about the culture at the DNC about not wanting to rack up the points, right? Even when you're leading. And there's a lot of prominent Democrats right now talking about how we should have to play nice and be friends and sing Kumbaya. Whether or not you believe that or not, that's another argument. But that definitely shines light on how the Democratic Party or how the DNC, how the leadership is going to treat Trump. I think if Trump acts within a certain limited set of behaviors without causing too much trouble, they will give him a blank. They will let him walk, at least on a federal level. Whatever the state does, it might just be Trump's going to have to fight off those legal fights, those legal battles himself. But in terms of federal stuff, the Democrats might just turn off the heat. And they might be able to turn off some of the state heat stuff too, because the Democrats, they talk to each other. There's no solid wall between, people who are in the federal government are friends and have associates in state governments too. So it could just be, once again, what you don't want to do is give people in power incentive to stay in power permanently. And if you start prosecuting people once they leave for serious crimes, then that gives people an incentive to stay in power indefinitely.
Yeah.
And Critical Cripple, I just want to shout out to Critical Cripple about the president's power to pardon is limited to federal offenses only. That is correct. So all that state stuff he has to deal with, that's his. That's a heavy lift for him.
Yeah,
that's going to be a heavy lift.
And can they give himself a blanket pardon for anything, or does he have to pardon himself for specific offenses? Because if he has to pardon himself for specific offenses, there are so many that it's crazy to think that he would be able to get them all.
I think Ford just gave Nixon a blanket pardon. Now people might be able to
do that.
Resolve
if Biden
or
does
correct
that,
me on
I'm going to
that.
be so angry.
Well, theoretically, let's say.
Angry?
I mean, is it the question is what the initial question is? Do you have to give a pardon for each and every crime, or are there blanket pardons? I believe that there are blanket pardons, and in theory, let's say Trump dives out of office tomorrow and Pence is in charge. In theory, Pence could give him a blanket pardon if he wanted to.
And I don't think that. I think that after they're both out of office, I think we should be able to look at that and undo that. I think that should be undoable. Yeah, because I just do. I think this notion of being above the law is something that they teach us and they need to stick to. Come on, this guy is not above the law.
It's interesting.
And you know what? I want to learn. I want somebody to give me some help after this election. Hoorah is gone. I would like to figure out how to petition the government. We've already talked about this. To how to petition them to open investigations. How do you do those petitions? I want to run a petition. Can you get, 1 million signatures and have them open an investigation into Lindsey Graham? Can you do that?
Well, if that was possible, then Republicans would be still opening up investigations against Hillary Clinton. But if we were going to do it on Kickstarter, for an example, right? If you could Kickstarter an investigation, then the whole system would be bogged down by investigations. Or at least by requests for investigations.
I have to believe there's got to be something, and it's voices like that get shit done. This idea that, no, he's got to get away, and then just tipping your hat down and going on bullshit.
Well,
he's never going to pay for it, so don't worry about making him pay for that. Fuck that.
I will say that the only thing that keeps us from prosecuting past presidents, and once again, I could be wrong, people in the chat can correct me, is tradition. So let's say in Russia, for an example, Putin, I mentioned this on the show on Friday, Putin is getting a bill passed that retired presidents are immune from prosecution for the rest of their lives. We don't have anything like that in this country, from what I understand. So, it is just tradition that we don't prosecute presidents.
Yeah, but we've never had this kind of heinous.
All right. Well, I'm just saying that there's no legal
attack on our own country.
There is no legal barrier from us to prosecute him. So now it's a question of politics.
Right. By the same legal means that Putin gets it put in there that past presidents are immune for life, that can be undone.
Oh, yeah.
And that can be undone in our country. The notion that Supreme Court justices are on there for life can be undone. People I know, sit down, listen to me. It can be undone. Yeah. What are those term limits can be imposed on senators and representatives and all that stuff. It can be done. Now, Andy, tell us why they won't do it. But see, at that point, you're like, politicians will never impose rules upon themselves in which they'll take away power from themselves. Then you tip your hat down, you're like, oh, shucks, we shouldn't do that.
But in
Pennsylvania, they did it.
I just want to point out that that the rules that we play by, a lot of it is tradition. Like, for an example, judicial review by the Supreme Court. It's not written in the Constitution. The Supreme Court gave itself that power in some court fight back in 1780 something, I believe. So there are politics, and if the politics state and can go over the hurdles, then yeah, we can change life appointments for Supreme Court justices. It's just a question of will. We could rescind, and I'm a big fan of rescinding the Second Amendment. I had Professor Alan Lichtman on my channel, and we talked about repealing the Second Amendment. It is possible. It is a question of will, political will.
What about?
And also, I just want to bring up the idea. So let's go into this reductio ad absurdum argument, right? So let's say our lifespan gets to be, let's say, Star Trek stuff, right? 200 years. So that means, are you telling me that Supreme Court justices would be able to sit on the court for 150 years? That seems like a long time. There should, I think that as our lifespan gets longer, it's only reasonable to limit the time a Supreme Court justice can sit on the court. But that's an argument to be had.
It looks like, I don't know, I thought they were going to speak until 8, but something. Well, all right. Well, you know what? They're going to go to commercial. While we wait, let's test this and make sure everybody can hear the sounds.
Let's test this out.
Can you hear me? Can you hear sounds?
I hear no sounds because I'm taking my medication. That's why.
No, it's okay. That I. Oh, I've got the mute button. El button de muto.
That was really a movie.
I hear sounds.
I started crying.
I hear sounds.
What's that?
I keep crying. I'm going to cry now.
I'm
Wait
going
for
to
me.
mute these.
We must get it right.
No sounds for the guests. I mean, for the people in the chat saying that there's no sound out there. I hear sound.
There'll be sound. Can you hear me now? Are there?
Oh, yes, there is sound. Theoretically says yes. Havoc,
Yes.
the brother of Cyclops from the X-Men. Yes. There is sound. It is good. That is what the Lord said.
It's alive.
Excellent. It is alive.
Primary was so intense. And I always thought it said something so reassuring about Joe Biden.
I was wondering, this is Joe Biden's. They had the thing going on in Arizona at the State House, I think, in Maricopa County.
Is that where those white people were dancing to Rage Against the Machine? I don't know if anyone else saw that video. You know, these two people older than I am, or it was either they're older than I am or they're really hard luck, 50-something-year-olds. They were dancing around where, one was waving a Trump banner and the other one had a Blue Lives Matter flag on the back, and they were dancing to Rage. It's like, wow. I think that was in Arizona. It's like, these people have no idea about anything whatsoever.
I seen it. I did.
So, so tell me if I'm wrong on Chris and people in the chat. So I would say, right, that Trump won the election in 2016. He won by cheating. He won by being crazy. Havoc saw that, and it was hilarious. Crazy stuff. But I would say that Trump won in 2016. And even though I think Joe Biden did a decent job, right? He did a decent job in this election. I would say it was the Trump administration that shot itself in the head in this election in terms of COVID-19 management primarily.
Absolutely.
And the stimulus during COVID-19. So Biden did okay, but it was really Trump and the Trump administration who lost this fight in 2020.
Right. I think more people didn't turn out to vote for Biden. They turned out to vote against Trump.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. And, there are people who've said, oh, you don't win elections by voting against, but you do. You do, and you did, and this is what happened. I mean,
well, people,
when
you look at the data, then if there is a recession, people will vote typically against who is in power. Mm-hmm. From my conversation with Dr. Alan Lichtman and from the book that I read of his about predicting presidential elections, there hasn't been a sitting president since 1984 who won re-election in a recession.
Right.
So the Lone Wanderer's Bunker in my chat says, if you want to open an investigation into a president, you would have to start with the DOJ, Department of Justice. However, they would stonewall you as they have a policy of not prosecuting a sitting president. Yeah, and then there's always.
But he won't be sitting long. And then I've already made the case that we need to go. There was an investigation into him before he became president. The previous administration said, "Hey, we think he's in cahoots with Russia," and they started investigating that. And then he got into office and intentionally killed that investigation. We know he did that. He fired the person in charge of the prosecuting that and tried to replace him with Jeff Sessions, and he recused himself, so they put somebody else in there. Right? So we should go back to that. If that's true, and he had help, knowingly had help from a foreign power to take government power in our government, we should rescind. But all those judges should be taken out. All of the policies that he's done should be undone. I don't see. And yeah, Department of Justice. And there again, your tradition of, I know I'm talking a fantasy world.
So I just want to say, Chris.
Hey, but just because it's a fantasy world doesn't mean you shouldn't try.
Okay. I just want to say, and I'm going to give you some crap right now, Chris. All right, we're going to get into some
coming from the guy who
controversy.
told me to call my politician like that's going to do something.
I'm going to give you some crap because everyone likes to. This is the put up or shut up moment here. But the day of the election, I put up my map on Facebook for all to see about who I thought was going to win and by what margin. Now I called Florida for Biden, and I called North Carolina for Biden. I was wrong about that. My predicted electoral votes for Biden was 335. The actual amount he's probably going to get is 306, and I think that's not bad.
So you're off by this huge margin, but you're going to.
Oh yeah, what does your map look like, Chris? What does your map look like? Yeah,
Florida
didn't want to put up a map.
North Carolina, but no, you barely missed it. It's like I missed Florida and North Carolina, but the rest of them I got by throwing a dart at a wall. I'm sorry, your predictions were good.
Yeah.
You're good, Andy.
I was, even though I called the election for Trump.
What's my map look like?
Yeah, what does your map look like? So I called the election for Trump in 2016, but my map was really off. I only had Trump winning by a small amount, like 273. Thank you. In 2016. So this time I got a lot closer. And even when I was making the map, I thought I was reaching for North Carolina. I thought Florida was more of a lock. But I thought, but I just went for it. So, yeah, I'm off by about 29 electoral votes.
I thought Florida was kind of a lock, too, considering his approach to the coronavirus. Just like you said, all the old people down there, how many people have died in Florida from the coronavirus?
Yep. My girlfriend says that Andy called Arizona because I made him. And you're right. But you see, I try to have really smart people around me at all times because I'm an idiot.
Of course.
So I want to have smart people. Thank you, Uncle Mart. Andy was on fire with predictions. So, I was, I always try to have much smarter people around me. And if I actually listened to Dale McGowan, who is the head of the Pathos Non-Religious channel, he said, Andy, Florida's going to go blue. And I'm like, I don't know. I'm not going to call. Georgia's going to go blue. And I did not believe him, but he turned out to be right. But still, 26 electoral votes. I was pretty close.
I was very surprised with Nokasuchi's accuracy. He blew me away. I had no guesses. I had no guesses. But Nokasuchi calling Michigan like that, Michigan, right?
Well, that's his home state. He is there. He said he's been working in local politics for 20 years. So he knows the ground. He knows the culture. And you know what is more important about Nokasuchi? And I want to say this about our election night coverage too. Him and Dan Errol in particularly. I told Dan that we were running this show tonight, and Dan said, make sure you tell everyone what I said on election night. And spot on, Dan Errol. He said, everyone come, all of you tits, basically. There's going to be a lot of mail-in ballots, and even though it looks really bad on election night, it will get better over the next couple of days. And shout out to Dan Errol and to Nock for being calm, keeping a good head, being nice, level-headed through the entire craziness. And that's what you need. That's what you need in the pocket are people who are calm and not panicking.
True.
Yeah.
Aletha Ann Dayton says, a guy on Reddit ran the numbers, and if so many hadn't died in Georgia from COVID, Trump could have won. And, also Stacey Abrams did some fine works in Georgia.
Yep,
Stacey Abrams.
Did a lot of work. The reason why Nevada's still going blue, from what I understand, is that Harry Reid who was one senator there, made institutions within that state to help energize Democrats and get Democrats registered. So good work in Nevada, good work in Georgia.
Yeah. Well, the deal is we can't let up. We got to move on from here. We got to primary those, the same thing you and Nokasuchi talk about all the time. Yep. You got to primary the ones that aren't going to do the thing. And
yeah. Well, what's really funny is that AOC's been, because I've been watching some of AOC's Twitter feed as well as Donald Trump. And I'll read a few of Donald Trump's tweets later on because they are hysterical in being Donald Trump, But AOC, she is trying to push the party leftward. There's no doubt about that. And so Absolutely. There's a lot of centrist Democrats who don't like her.
Hey, thank you to Derek Cruz for the $2 of support to the channel. He says, thanks for the show tonight. Thanks. Thank you guys for joining us. Thank you all for watching.
I felt it was necessary for us to, Chris and I both felt it was necessary for us to come on and for us to talk about it, especially since Biden's going to be talking. I did hear on 538, the live blog, that Trump is definitely not going to be doing a live presentation tonight. And so that means we just get to see his wonderful, wonderful tweets.
Yeah. CNN is still showing Rick Santorum, and it just makes me go, they need to get him off of there. Their little token Republican. He needs to go away. GTFO. Don't let the door hit you in the ass.
I will say this is that people should look at Van Jones. If you go on YouTube.
Van Jones is awesome.
Van Jones, and the man was in tears.
Saw that live.
And I did not see that live. I saw a video of it afterwards. My girlfriend told me about it. And very moving about the Biden win. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, again, though, like I say, we got to keep moving, keep going forward, we got a primary. This is not the end. This is just the beginning, because it just depends on what happens with Trump. If the Tea Party conservatives get called out for their shit, if they get smacked down, they lose everything, and Trump gets investigated and his family gets taken down, all that stuff, then things will be good. But otherwise, it's just going to be hell. They're just going to be hell. Hell.
I just want to shout out about Brainbug, too. I saw a tweet from Brainbug, maybe yesterday or the day before. The man went, and Brainbug's a YouTuber, a very nice person. I've had him on my channel a lot. He's in the chat quite a bit. And the man went to the ER the other day, and I'm not telling tales out of school. He just put this on Twitter. Publicly, and he went to the hospital thinking he had a heart attack. He was having a heart attack. It turned out he wasn't having a heart attack, but the doctors thought he might have COVID, and so the last time I heard from Brainbug, he is quarantining at home. Okay. So definitely, Brainbug, you're in my thoughts. I just wanted to say that. Oh, also, I wanted to read this stupid tweet this is my favorite tweet from Donald J. Trump tonight. Pivoting quite a bit, all in caps, of course, and I'm not going to try to do an impersonation, but This is my favorite tweet of his. It's, "I won this election by a lot."
Yeah, I know. He's not facing it. He's not going to face it. He's going to see which conservative politicians he can get to go with him, and he's going to try to stay in office and fight it.
Well,
not by the legal means.
He has to say that he won the election because it feeds into this, evangelical persecution syndrome, right? That's part of the culture. Is that evangelicals always have to feel like they're getting screwed one way or the other, even when they're messing with other people. They have to be talking about how they're getting persecuted against because they have to recognize other people's rights. So Trump has to play the victim. He has to play the victim to keep his base going.
Yeah, well, we need to. I don't know. We'll just see what happens. I'm keen and eager to get past it.
Oh, me too.
Of course. Yeah. Let me see what's going on over here on MSN. We got about 20 minutes, I think.
We got 20 minutes.
Biden shows up.
That's cool. And then who knows? No one ever shows up. No one ever shows up on time for the show, right? If you're a headliner. I always. You know what's going to be cool too, ladies and gentlemen, is that Dave Chappelle is going to be on SNL tonight. Dave Chappelle was on SNL 2016, the day, the Saturday after
Really?
Hillary Clinton lost the election. This man is on SNL tonight. He's going to be savage. He's going to be hilarious. He's going to be controversial because that's who Dave Chappelle is. He is one of the best, whether you love him or hate him, he is one of the best artists practicing the craft right now. And so I am looking forward. I'm going to stay up late. I'm going to keep my old man eyes open just to see Dave Chappelle do his shtick, man. It's going to be wonderful. So Uncle Mart says in the chat, Chris and Andy, what are your thoughts on what's going to happen over the next couple of months? Good question. Glad you asked. Right now, over the last couple of days, I was thinking that Trump really wanted to stay president and stay in power as much as humanly possible and would do anything he could to stay in power. But now I'm really pivoting off of that. My opinion has shifted after seeing what he's doing now and what he has done leading up to the election and afterwards. So he may not be making a hard drive to stay in power, like going into crazy mode. I think that he's going to be complaining, he's going to be kvetching, he's going to be using the next, 74 days or so, 73, 74 days that he has before Inauguration Day to get as much as he can for himself before leaving office. As I said a couple of months ago, and I don't want to bust on you again, but Knock isn't here either. I thought Trump wouldn't be in office 6 months from now. Well, this is now like 4 months from now, 5 months from now. And I still don't think he's going to be in office. I think he will actually leave, and I think it'll be messy, it'll be rocky, but he's still going to be gone.
See, I kind of agree with you. I want to agree with you. I don't know though. I don't think he's going to go away quietly. I don't think this is an act. I think he's going to try to stay in power. I think he's going to forcibly try to remain the president of the United States.
I don't think he's going to be quiet.
Have to wait long. 2 months.
Oh, 2 months. That's right. So, do you guys remember that? This is from Havoc. Do you guys remember that Chappelle endorsed Yang in the primary because of UBI? To tell you the truth, Bernie Sanders was my first pick, and then I liked Andrew Yang. I think he was my second pick in the primaries, to tell you the truth. I don't even know where Joe Biden was in my selection of people I wanted to be the Democratic nominee. So it was definitely Sanders and then Yang after him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, forcibly, Victor. That's how I mean, but not by court. I mean, he'll do everything he can. He's going to deny it. He'll forcibly have to be removed from office. That's kind of what. And of course, I've said this often that I want to be wrong. I do. I'd like to see him come out and give us an eloquent, or as eloquent as he's going to get, Donald Trump concession speech, or maybe he's not going to, or whatever. Anything Andy says. I'd like to see him be gone, but hey, Donnie, nice to have you with us.
I think he will not be he will not be calling out people to do armed insurrection. How's that for a prediction? He might, like I said, he's going to cause trouble. He's going to shake a lot of trees, but I do not think he's going to go full crazy. Because if he hasn't gone full crazy up until this point, I don't think he's going to go full crazy now. Yeah.
Well, let's see. I think whenever Fox News starts to echo what he's saying about he shouldn't leave office and stuff like that, that's whenever we should start to worry.
Right. And to tell you the truth, you're right. It's listening to what Republicans have to say tomorrow when they go on the Sunday morning shows. Because, Sunday morning shows are where people get a lot of their news. Right, at least their thinky news, their editorializing, their analysis of the news, and so that's when the Democrats and the Republicans send their A teams out for messaging. So it'll be interesting to see what they have to say on, like, Meet the Press, for an example, or Face the Nation.
I'm soaking up a little bit of my Schadenfreude again today because it appears that Trump was on the golf course when he learned that he had lost the presidency, and then he had to drive back home to the White House through all the protesters and stuff. This long week of him losing slowly has been joyous.
So there's a difference between like Hitler being in the bunker in 1945 with the Russians coming in, right? And taking stuff seriously and being crazy. And then there's a difference between Trump, and this is just Trump, right? The fact that he is calm, he might care, but he might not. Him being on the golf course basically is not a man dedicated to fight, tooth and nail, up until January 20th. I don't think that's his move.
Yeah.
That's his play. I don't think that's his play.
Yeah, again, that could also be the sign of a guy who thought he was going to win, had it in the bag. Thought they'd so corrupted the election, so suppressed the vote. Of course, he could be just him and doesn't give a shit about nothing and was going to golf today, regardless.
Yeah, right.
He got up this morning and had some happy time. It didn't matter. He was going to do his thing. I don't.
Well, that's a great thing about being a sociopath.
I'm just saying it's good. It's delicious.
Right. Oh, yeah.
That he was there at that time when he learned. That's all. That's all.
I have to tell you, I have to give a shout out to Joe Biden for having such a lovely dog. I don't know if you've seen, hey, Critical Cripple.
Good evening.
Oh, yeah.
How are you doing, sir?
Joe Biden's got some beautiful puppies.
Yeah. A good looking dog. That's what he has.
What's this? A major and something else.
What?
So,
The
Critical
dog's
Cripple,
nice.
what's your whole read on this crazy American thing going on here?
Well, apparently it's terrible for the UK.
Why is that?
Absolutely terrible. Because apparently Biden has come out in the background and said that there's going to be no special deal come Brexit. So there's no. We're looking at 2-3 years for an American trade deal, and we're basically looking to chop our hands off with the EU.
Yes.
Is that because of Boris Johnson and the Brexit, or is that? I mean, that's Brexit's fault, not Biden's fault, though, right?
It's not Biden's fault directly. It's just that Trump had said that he was willing to, force something through as long as we gutted our health service and our food standards.
Well,
Yeah,
on
but
the
it
other
shouldn't
hand,
be
maybe
worth
this is
your
going to
health
work out. Maybe this will work out for you all anyway.
Hey, I'll tell you what, let me just mail you my bill for my carpal tunnel surgery, and you can decide if you really want Trump, if that's bad or not. I don't know.
Whatever.
Crazy over there.
It's not bad. It's not bad. This is interesting. There has been an odd mood over the last few days. I think that majority of people here were, again, they weren't pro-Biden. They were anti-Trump.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Here
Well,
too.
Just like here, mostly. I heard that there are fireworks being shot off, or at least parties in London over Biden winning.
We're not sure. There have been fireworks. There's been a lot of fireworks set off tonight.
Okay. Maybe it was Paris. I know Paris. I think there was some celebration in Paris.
Well,
I heard that there was. Oh, you had Guy Fawkes. That's right. What was that?
That's right.
Yeah.
The Guy Fawkes thing. That's right. Well, how appropriate. How apropos. Yeah, we're a few minutes away. We got about 10 minutes. Hopefully, Biden will speak on time. As Andy said, they're never on time.
Yeah.
But
So-
it looks like CNN and them have got it. I'm going to put it up over here. Carry on.
So, Uncle Mart from my chat asked you the $64,000 question, Critical Cripple. If you don't mind, were you remain or leave?
Remain. Very much so remain.
Remain. Good.
Brexit. I mean, the worst thing is that no one in the UK gave a stuff about leaving the EU. The numbers were about 10% 2 years before the Brexit campaign.
Right.
Yeah,
It's built on exactly the same sort of lies that got Trump into power.
that's
Yep.
exactly right. That's
Yep, that's how I
exactly
understand
right.
it.
Yep. We need to get rid of that shit. Just make that not work anymore. I
What
don't
do
know
you
how we
do?
do that.
Okay, this is the question I have been asking people for the last 2 years. What do you do about lies in public office?
Yeah, hypocrisy. You have to be able to do something about hypocrisy. But anytime, like whenever Andy and I discuss it, like you make rules against lying, and Andy's like, no politician is going to make rules that hurt themselves.
It's like them talking
makes
about trying to deal with Twitter at the moment, trying to get rid of Section 504, whatever.
Yeah, so they can
They won't
close
do
down.
that. Because if they do that, it makes Twitter liable, and then Twitter has to actually verify their stuff.
Right.
They
And
don't
that
want
shuts
Twitter
everything
to verify
down.
their stuff. They want Twitter to ignore them as much as possible, so they can spout their lies.
Right. Well, yeah. Either ignore them so they can spout their lies, or they want to shut down Twitter. Those are your options, and that's what they're trying to do. If they make it to where the owner of Twitter is liable for what you say on Twitter, there's no way he's going to let that stay open, so he's going to shut that down. That's what they were trying to do.
Go abroad.
So I have to ask you, I've been asking everyone that I talked to over the last, I don't know, a couple of months, maybe a year, who lives over there across the pond, what's going on with the backstop between Northern Ireland and Ireland? Does anyone really know? I hear that it's either going to be in the Irish Sea or on the border. I don't know. I'm confused. Is there an answer?
Well, Boris Johnson and the Tory government have pushed through something that basically breaks international law that says that we won't put up a border in either place. So neither. However, they have been putting through the paperwork so that we can have a border at the Irish Sea, so that the Northern Ireland remains in regulatory alignment with the EU.
Okay, so that's okay.
That's probably what will happen, but they are being deceptive on both sides.
Oh, I imagine. I imagine. Now, coming just here from the States, I would imagine that the more safe version would be having the border in the Irish Sea, so that doesn't create all kinds of chaos on the land border between Northern Ireland and the Republic.
That's crazy.
Yes,
Yes,
pretty
okay.
much. Because right now that border is like your states. That the trade
Exactly
is constantly and it's open.
Right.
It is devastating to close that border now, and we are our government is relying on the fact that the EU will not break the Good Friday Agreement.
Oh, right. And the only reason why the place isn't in flames is because of the Good Friday Agreement, from what I understand. See, we're getting into the weeds here. Unless you're a Boston native who cares about Irish, what goes on over there.
But it is believed that Biden has said outright that if we attempt to do anything that in any way jeopardizes the peace over there, there is no prospect of a trade deal.
Well, that's good, to tell you the truth, because people don't realize what kind of craziness can go on. There are still walls that get locked at night, from what I understand, to keep Catholics and Protestants on their side of the line.
I mean, it's interesting because they've stopped reporting a lot of what goes on there, but there's still plenty of bombings, shootings, and beatings, and
Right.
we're told it's better, but you still
Put
hear
your
about
mask on, kid. Sorry. Don't carry on.
So people talk about people don't realize that Catholics and Protestants in some areas in the world are more than happy to kill each other. But it is. Northern Ireland is a case in point. Yeah, the Good Friday Accords are the things that can help calm everyone down and make things peaceful.
We need a president that can be as constructive as Donald Trump was destructive.
Oh, you're right about that. You're right about that.
But of course, it's not just the president. It's also the people, the cabinet he brings with him. It's also the Senate, Mitch McConnell. Mitch McConnell is half the reason. He's a lot more than half the reason why our country is where it is right now.
Yeah.
I want to know how much your government has paid for the Middle East peace treaties that have been signed.
Well, there's always money involved, isn't there? Right.
My guess is when they came out. My guess is they were pushed through quickly and they've cost a lot.
Well, people don't realize that I believe we still give Egypt tons of money every year just for the agreement that they demilitarized the Sinai Peninsula. Once again, getting into the weeds a bit in foreign policy. But yes, the reason why the world isn't ablaze as much as it is because of these international agreements where money is transferred around and people get to behave themselves and play nicely. Or at least the whole thing doesn't blaze up into craziness.
Well, they said that the key to international peace is interdependency economically. So if we're paying everyone.
So what do you think? You think Scotland's leaving? Scotland's leaving the EU?
If Scotland can get another vote, yes, absolutely.
Yeah, independent Scotland.
Wait. Is Scotland leaving the EU, or what are they? Are they leaving the Brexit?
They are part of the United Kingdom at this point, and if they do leave the Union, it would be leaving Great Britain, and hopefully, I would imagine their plan is to join the EU after that.
And stay in the EU because so
Well,
here's the deal. This
won't
is my
stay
understanding.
too
Correct me
long.
if I'm wrong. Right now, Biden is potentially dealing with Britain's version of Trump in office and his political ilk in office.
Boris is smarter.
Well, no. I get that. But he's still the lying, evil, Hippocratic, right-wing nutbag who's willing to lie and cheat and destroy the poor to feed the rich, just like these guys here.
No, Boris is not right-wing.
Hey, if they're trying to get rid of the NIH, or what do you guys call
Boris,
your...
Boris is not right-wing. Boris doesn't care. Boris just wanted power. Right? The people that want Brexit, the people that are pushing for that sort of the right wing of the Conservative Party here, they're very right-wing, and they've got a lot of influence right now. But Boris isn't really right-wing. He just doesn't care. He just wanted to be king when he was a child, and he grew up, and this was the way he found out the best way to do it.
Right, by taking the right-wing party and getting there, but by getting the right-wing party, they're trying to do things like get rid of the NHS. And if you get rid of the NHS, then you have the English people have no idea what financial destruction will be rent upon you if they do that. If you go to a system like, you'll be afraid to go to the doctor. You will sit and suffer in pain instead of going to the doctor. Do not let them. Why would anybody want that? I can't imagine why anybody.
Knock over the last 6 months.
I'm sorry.
He has a heart attack and doesn't go to the doctor. He goes to work.
Yeah. Well, because you can't afford it.
And he doesn't go to the doctor. And he doesn't go to the doctor. And he doesn't go to the doctor.
Yeah.
There is I believe it was Uncle Marty in the chat. I'm sorry, I'm trying to do the chat and talk at the same time, saying that if Scotland leaves, so does the North Sea oil. But from what I understand, I had my ex-in-laws have some family over there in Scotland. From what I understand, the North Sea oil is not as plentiful as it once was.
That's what the UK government would have you believe. It's not. But there's still plenty there.
Okay. Interesting.
The UK government wants to undervalue it, while the Scottish government wants to overvalue it. If you listen to the Scottish government, they tell you there's decades worth of a fortune there. The problem is we've now had 50 years of this experiment of different countries, and at the same time we got North Sea oil, so did Norway.
Yep.
And they've still got trillions from it. And we
got a glut of oil now. We had Americans stop driving because of the plague, so all the oil reserves went up, and we got all this oil that we can't do nothing with, and the price of gas went down, and the Trump tards are going, woohoo! Look, Trump, he drove down the price of gas, but it was really had to do more with the fact that people weren't driving, and all the things I just mentioned.
Blazing Wizard Pope says, I just want to say congratulations on regaining some sense America. Some sense. We'll see how it plays out, definitely.
For now. Hey, Andy, what were those dates we need to watch for?
Oh, my friend, I just December 8th, right here. I don't know if you can see it. It's pretty okay. December 8th.
If I may, wait. You've been telling us to watch for these dates for the past month or so.
It is still
Trump
important.
Doesn't want to win again.
Then we have nothing to worry about.
Those? Right,
Because this is a pivot. Believe it or not, when you're a skeptic, my friend, you can change your opinion. And so looking at the data as it is now, it's still important to remember these dates. December 8th, December 14th, January 6th, and of course January 20th. But right now, if I was a betting person, I would say that he is not going to try to do anything too crazy. I could be wrong. He could, trying to get into that squirrel of a brain that Donald Trump has is difficult.
He has to justify now. It's not just that he has to find fraud. That's easy. That'll be easy enough to find a couple of small cases of fraud.
Oh, yeah.
Right? But he's now got to find enough fraud to justify tens of thousands of votes in multiple states to be worth carrying on.
His best chance for winning would have been to create so much chaos on Election Day or leading up to Election Day that the election itself in certain states would be considered unviable or corrupted.
His timing was very odd.
What's that?
I thought his timing was very odd. He doesn't seem to do corruption very well. I thought when he came out, when he did the election day through, even though it was looking that way, and then he carried on when they started counting, and he stayed relatively quiet.
So
And then it wasn't until a lot later that he then started ranting and raving like a madman.
Yeah.
Well, you know,
Once the numbers started to turn on him.
well, you know, that's my point, is that if he really wanted to make a mad grab for power, he would have amped it to 11 a while back.
Also, I mean, I even predicted that he was going to be quiet. There are lots of us who know that, or have said that anytime things are going down, he gets quiet on his Twitter for a while. Jared Kushner's investigating, or somebody's under investigation, or some kind of court case, or going something important, and he'll go silent on his Twitter. We predicted that.
I just want to answer someone's question. I heard that Putin has Parkinson's. I don't know if that's true or not.
Oh yeah,
I don't know if that's a rumor. I haven't done enough research. Critical. Oh, you say he does have.
Well, I know that multiple media organizations have come out and said he does have. That's why he passed the immunity for life, and he's retiring next year.
Yeah. So
And I think it's probably a good thing. I was worried about the transfer of power in Russia because there is no one right now as a successor.
Yeah, well, this is the
Well, that
problem
would be
with
good for
autocratic
us.
systems. This is the it could be really bad too. I mean, the thing is about autocratic systems is that it is a crapshoot because you divorce in autocratic systems. I'm not saying anything people don't know. It is you are typically divorced from any kind of meritocracy, or at least in many ways divorced from meritocracy. So whoever Putin likes is going to go into power. Whoever agrees with him politically will probably be the next guy in. That doesn't mean that person is as competent an administrator as Putin or as good as Putin is at holding the whole system together.
No.
And that's the problem with autocracy, is that the next person in line could be complete crap. Complete crap.
Hey, you know, I made a special button. I have not got to press the special button. I think I should press the special button now.
Now tell us about the button first. You got to give us a setup here.
What's the
Tell
button
me,
gonna do? Are we going to fall through the floor?
tell me
No,
about
it's
the button.
It's just the Biden wins button. I made it a few days ago. The Biden wins button. Yay! Now we've got like stuff on the screen.
Oh, we have stuff on the screen now. I should actually take a look at what's going on.
Yeah, it's cool stuff. It's really cool. Cool stuff. I did it all by myself, alone and scared. Confetti and
Oh, there it is, confetti. That's very nice, Chris. Huh? Very slick, sir.
I started to have a dun 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 dun.
All right.
Dun 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 dun.
Little 18,
But I thought
12.
I would just do that for you instead.
Oh, that's
Here we
very
go.
good. I appreciate it. Very nice. Very 1812.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yes, I knew you'd appreciate that.
But you know,
Biden should speak.
What? Oh, is he speaking right now?
No, go.
So the thing is, we should still be mindful that we are still official until it's over. Until January 20th is over, there are different dates that we should be mindful of. One of them is, of course, December 8th, which is when the individual states have to certify their votes. December 14th is when the Electoral College actually votes. January 6th is when Congress certifies the vote. And of course, January 20th is, in theory, home plate. That is Inauguration Day.
Well, at this point, Congress has the Democrats have held the Congress, so we shouldn't have a problem there.
Mm-hmm.
That should not be one of the days. Do you think electoral voter people will go against their state?
There would have to be
enough
so
numbers?
much. There would have to be so much chaos being brewed within the
Did
states.
you see what was recommended on Fox this morning?
No, what? Tell
What
me.
was that?
Oh, they were advising that Republican governors, Republican state legislators should ignore the vote and send Republican electors.
That's the
See,
scenario right here, December 14th. So that is a strategy that they could do. In other words, let me repeat, Donald Trump could become president legally without winning the popular vote or the Electoral College. This
By
is a
how again?
possibility.
Can you explain that?
Well, as my friend, Mr. Dave, down there states, is that if the state legislators and governors in Republican states decide to say that the election process is too crooked or corrupt, they can elect their own electors and have them vote. against the will of the people. And in theory, you could have the regular electors vote.
We should never allow the conservatives to have power again. We should just do that every time.
Well, I think that there are some certain problems in our electoral system was built hundreds of years ago that just may not work out well in today's world. That's what I'm saying. True. Maybe, perhaps.
Possibly. I got a little message for my nephew Donnie who's watching the chat. Donnie, me too. I feel the same way. I watched some of your Facebook posts and I wasn't really sure where you felt, but I didn't know, but I'm very glad you're anti-Trump. Hell yeah, I'm anti-Trump. If you don't mind, if you get the chance, check out TrumpFamilyTreason.com. I've been building that. I might see if you want to help me work on that some more if you want to get back into doing the stuff. So we're moving stuff.
The girlfriend states that just some states will certify their votes before December 8th, but this is by law that they have to be certified by.
Okay. So I'm not too worried about that one, really. I think the states like Pennsylvania, they've all been very
the numbers in Pennsylvania look very good. I know in Georgia they have to do a recount because it's so close. From what I understand, in Georgia they have to do a recount because it's so close. But really, Pennsylvania takes Biden over the top anyway at 273 electoral votes. So, there we go.
Well, Biden hopefully will start speaking soon. We will see. I'm kind of eager to see what he's got to say, and of course eager to see Trump's response.
No, he'll be tweeting his response as Biden talks about it.
I think I'll pull it over here. Yeah, he's done that in the past too.
I'll actually pull up my phone now and see when my Twitter feed starts blowing up with Trump being crazy. I will have to tell you, I think it was one of the worst mistakes of my life. No, I'm not talking about getting married for those 20 years. I'm happily with my girlfriend, too. I just want to say that. She's not just because she's in the chat. But I will say the worst decision, probably, as my second worst decision, was following Donald Trump and having him so that I could be alerted to every single tweet this man makes, just because I want to see what's going on.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like he hasn't tweeted in about 3 hours.
It's been a while. It has been a while.
I hope he's chewing a hole in his seat somewhere. Just kind of.
It's because the official thing has finally happened, and Biden has added President-elect to his Twitter profile, and Trump. Yeah.
Well, it's real once you add it to the Twitter profile. It's in the Constitution. Once you have it on the Twitter profile, there's nothing you can do about it.
That explains it. Yeah, that explains it all. I'm still looking. We have been waiting for this for months. So, I'm going to step away for just a moment, and the wife just got home. I'll be right back, you guys. I'll be right back.
So, what do you think he's going to do? He's screaming that he's going to set the lawyers on them on Monday, but equally, he's talking about firing his entire legal team.
Donald J. Trump, I think his major concern, and I'm not going to say anything that nobody else knows, that Donald Trump is most concerned about Donald Trump. So his main concern is to keep power. Now, that doesn't mean staying in the presidency. He may think that he can have more fun, bang more porn stars. I'm sorry for that image. If he's out of the office of the president and have his own cable news channel and just run amok and be crazy and just, shoot his mouth off. The office of the president is a tough job, even if you're an F-up like Donald J. Trump. So he may just want to go.
He did the job.
What's that?
I don't think he did the job mostly.
That's the thing. I think that even if you're going to just do 25% of the job or 20% of the job, that's still a lot. That's just not like going on the Apprentice, right? His reality TV show, shooting his mouth off for 5 minutes or an hour, and then telling people that they're fired. There are meetings you got to go to. There are a lot of people telling you what to do and when to do it. And Donald J. Trump is a lot like a comedian. And you know what comedians hate? People telling them what to do and when to do it. We freaking hate that. That's why we do what we do. And I don't think Trump likes telling people what to do, but he doesn't like being told what to do. And the president of the United States has to do things. Even just showing up. Even if he's a jerk, he still has to show up. And he doesn't like that, man. I don't think he likes that.
I am going to look Joe Biden up on Twitter.
theoretically,
You know
the
what?
chip. What?
I'm not going to do that. I have no fantasies about Joe Biden picking up Twitter at all.
He
And
has. He
actually
probably.
tweeting. He has somebody else tweet for him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Someone on
Yeah.
CNN made an interesting point.
Tell me.
That as it stands right now, he can leave office and retain an awful lot of power in the GOP.
Oh yeah.
That's what we don't want.
But that's only going to be as long as he doesn't do much harm now.
Yep. Exactly.
That means that there is pressure on him from the GOP to go.
You know, it's not even directly from the GOP. It's just doing the math. You know, going through the algorithm. It's like, well, what do I have to gain by leaving office, shooting my mouth off, rattling some cages, but I still leave relatively peacefully? Well, there's a lot of bonuses, like you just said, Dave. You know, he keeps a lot of control in the GOP. He gets to do whatever he wants for all intents and purposes. And as long as he avoids legal, prosecution, then he's doing fine. And to tell you the truth, okay, so let's say he gets legal. Let's say, some states give him a hard time. He just has to put a Kickstarter and just ask people to give him money. And his fans will pay for all of his legal bills. So why not do it? Why not leave gracefully? There's a lot of incentives for the man to do it.
They also, what else did they? The other interesting thing was the runoffs. They think the runoff. There's not a chance in hell that the Republicans can win them without him.
The senatorial runoffs in Georgia.
And they need to lose those.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
it might be in our favor if he goes nuts.
If the two seats in Georgia do go Democrats, and it'll be 50-50 in the Senate, with, of course, Vice President Harris being the tie-breaking vote.
We could change a lot with that kind of power.
Well, just rescinding Trump's executive orders will be huge, and trying to depoliticize certain aspects of the executive branch will be nice. And just having scientists around, and not being the victim or not being the target of verbal attacks will be nice. It'll be a nice change, to tell you the truth.
It's nice to not be constantly distressed. It'll be nice to not, hopefully.
Steve Bannon was on some freaking talk show or a podcast talking about how Dr. Fauci should be beheaded. Hopping Christ on the cross, man.
You got banned from
kicked
Twitter
off
for
of
it.
Twitter. Yeah.
What's that?
You got kicked off Twitter for it.
Good, as well as it should.
Did you see the? Oh, you had to have seen this today. I can't bring it up. The majority of Trump's tweets today have got advisories alongside them.
I saw that.
I saw that.
With some of them being completely hidden because it's disputed and might be misleading.
This is one of the reasons why I thought he was going to lose in this election. One of the reasons is that the same tricks that he was able to do in 2016, he just can't do. He just can't shoot all, let's say out of 100 lies he shoots out in 2016, maybe he can only shoot out half of those amount on social media because of people just calling him on his BS. And that means he just doesn't have the same kind of reach that he used to, or he doesn't have the same kind of platform that he used to.
There's less people arguing. I try and respond to his tweets very quickly with something as a counter to it.
Sure.
Okay, so something either, assuming he's lying, which is most of his tweets, with a counter of something. Very often I repeat back to him what he said correctly. And normally, or up until the election, I would have had between 20 and 300 responses within about 5 minutes from Trump supporters fighting it.
Really?
A lot. I think a lot of bots on the back of that, repeating things. Since, in the last 48 hours or so, I've got my most liked ever tweet, and I'm lucky if I get 2 or 3 tweets back from Trump people arguing with it.
Oh, wow. That's a significant difference.
Yeah. So I think that there's a resignation there.
Yeah. Well, I saw a poll. It was on the 538 live blog that a majority of Americans believe that Trump is losing Well, this is before the official this is before the race got called. But most people here in the States thought Trump was losing, that Biden was winning legitimately. And this was, like I said, before the election got called.
Yeah. I've got to say that the 15 minutes that Fox wouldn't call it were brilliant. Every anchor squirm. Well, CNN have called it now. An Associated Press. We're not calling it.
Right. Well, I think they were a little hesitant to call it after what happened in Arizona. Like, we had 5 whole votes in Arizona, and they're like, Arizona went to Biden. And the Trump supporters are like, down with Fox. Down with Fox. They were chanting that in Arizona outside the... so I think they were going to really hesitate. There's even a meme going around. All these characters are looking at you, and they're going, we're going to wait for Fox News to drop the, like nobody was going to say it until Fox said it.
Yeah.
What you want is you would wait for Fox to declare Biden the winner, or for CNN to declare Trump the winner. It's not real unless it's that way
it's
around.
Not real, yeah. Well, that's what I was saying. I was really, and again, if they're still doing, I got to give Fox credit. They were none of this. I didn't see anything to the contrary on their thing outside of saying, Trump's going to do some contesting of things, but otherwise, it says about America's 46th president, Biden. That Fox News looks like they're on board.
I mean, their anchors were explicitly told there was a phone call apparently came in from Murdoch that said under no circumstances was anyone on air allowed to call him president-elect.
Oh, that's
president-elect.
I could see that. I
think that's why it took them. I think it took them 15 minutes. That's why I think it took them 15 minutes. I think they went off to try and get permission to declare it.
Well, I mean, they could still declare the election for him without calling him president-elect, I suppose.
Yeah. Well, again,
it's all about the marketing.
The marketing, yeah.
The marketing.
He needs to get up there and hurry.
He does.
Well, I think what Biden's going to say, we were talking about what's Biden going to say. Biden's probably going to say, blah, blah, here to unite people, blah, blah, fight COVID-19, blah, blah. Olive branch out to Republicans in general. Let's all pull together as a country, fight off the virus. Brighter days ahead. We have better and brighter days ahead. And that's what I think is going to be the basic point of what he's going to say.
Yeah. Well, again, I'm one of those who's really hoping that olive branch is limited. I mean, when it comes to there's certain political people in our government who need to be investigated, and I don't think Biden needs to step back from that.
Well, so what I would do is that, I mean, if I was Biden, I would lie about the olive branch and about kumbaya, big tent, blah, blah, blah. And then I would prosecute the F out of all the F'ers that need to be effing prosecuted. Excuse me for the coarse language. But for this speech, I'd be like, that's the thing is that that's what I would do. And I'm a jerk, obviously, and I want to win. I want to win in 2022 and 2024. I don't think the DNC really has the fire in the belly for that kind of attitude.
I mean, the problem is if they don't win these runoffs, they have to try and win in 2 years. They
do. They have to win in 2 years.
And that's why we can't stop. We've got to keep pressing for the next 2 years and keep pressing and keep pressing. It's because they will. They're going to keep pressing. They're going to do everything they can to fight any progress that Biden makes or tries to make between now and then. They're going to stop him, especially McConnell, going to stop any progress Biden makes. And then as soon as they're back in office, they're going to start marching us back and pilfering our nation again and doing all those things again.
What I am telling my Christian friends is that you better get all of your Merry Christmases in this year, because once those godless Democrats take power,
that's right.
Going to be nothing but happy holidays after that.
That's right. Happy holidays. True enough. And we're going to Easter. No more Easter. We're going to celebrate bunnies.
It's going to be Earth Day. That's what that horrible socialist, eco-terrorist holiday. We're going to get rid of Easter.
Day.
It'll be Satan Day, exactly. It'll be Saturday. We'll be into Satan Day.
Satan Day. Yeah. And then, of course, once Biden comes into office, we can start outlawing God and Jesus. We really got to outlaw Jesus today.
Well, we can't
outlaw God. We've got to let the Muslims stick around. It's just the Christianity side of it we've got to get rid of. I mean, this is the Democrats we're talking about here.
Well, Uncle Mart in the chat says it's time for the war on Christmas here, and you are correct, Uncle Mart. It is time to raise our bloody flag of
prisoners
of Dawkins and declare the war on Christmas. Never too early for that. I say we start it in August next year.
Truth. I'm ready. See, again, my interest for tonight is what's going to happen after the speech.
Yeah.
That's kind of where
I'm... Oh, hey, we got a feed going on. I'm actually looking at the show on my second monitor here. And I know this is a surprise to everybody that I watch our show, but usually it's just me talking to the screen and checking 538. But it's a very slick... You know, I haven't said this enough to you, Chris, just because I don't want you to get it too big a head. But it's a very slick show you're running here on YouTube. It's very nice.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I put effort into it. Part of the credit goes to Critical Cripple. He builds tools that I use that make the show go. Otherwise, you wouldn't have a head.
No, you wouldn't have a head.
You'd be a headless Andy.
Well, there you go. Sad to say, that's my most appealing part of my body right there is my head.
It looks like people are
viral videos on social media. His best moments are when he meets somebody who has...
So I will ever so rudely interrupt you, gentlemen, as soon as the president steps up.
Definitely.
Shamelessly and whatnot.
Fairly certain what he's got to say is going to have more of an impact than what we've got to say.
Right. You know,
there's more substance here. There's more substance here than out there. I'm just going to say that.
I like it or I don't like it whenever he goes jogging up the stairs and stuff. I'm like, dude, don't fall down. That's the last thing we need.
He just does that
now, but before the election.
He was just doing that to take the piss out of Donald Trump. Donald Trump's like, oh, that Joe Biden, he can run upstairs.
Yeah. So every time I see him run upstairs or jog like he's getting on the plane or something, he'll be jogging up. I'm like, dude, man, don't catch your foot, because yeah, I mean, you don't come back from that at 80.
Victor says on Nox, I would love it if the government outlawed Christianity. It would also mean Jesus is near. There's no need to fight.
Yeah. Let me. I'm gonna pop him up on the screen. Where we go? I'm a little.
All right, let's pop him up, dude.
There we go. That's that part. I know we're still waiting on Biden.
Waiting on Biden.
Now they did say 8 p.m. Eastern.
Yeah, dude. Well, it's 8:23 right now. I'm sure everyone else knows, can read time too.
So what they meant was, like, at 8 o'clock he was going to cinch up his diaper and head to Walker out to the car, and about 8:30 he's going to...
Well, Diane Russell in chat says Joe Biden rides a bike daily. I believe that. I mean, Biden's a pretty fit guy.
I can't. You know? He is. I tease. He'd probably kick my ass. If I ever meet him, I bet I'll apologize for all these mean things I said.
Yeah.
Because he's a spry guy. It's just that I don't want to see him fall. That's really... I tease... But the last thing I want to do is see him fall.
Listen, we all know Nana and Granddad. It only takes one fall for things to happen. You can be walking around fine 1 minute at a certain age, and then you take the fall.
Right.
And things change after that.
One day you're fine. The next day you're jogging up a stairwell to an airplane, and yeah. I'm watching for that. I'm just hopeful for him. Put your mask on.
Put your mask on.
Put your mask on. You know, me and the wife, if we're out in public somewhere, anywhere where you would, like, if we're walking around the block, I'll still wear my mask. I don't go without it. I don't walk without it from the car to the grocery door. Well, I put it on as soon as I get out. I wear my mask. I wear my mask whenever I am in a convenient or a drive-through line.
Oh, so that's just courtesy, dude. That's just courtesy.
We don't really have to, but we do. Now, I do those things to show people that despite what I look like, I am not one of those people.
Yeah.
It encourages other people to wear them as well.
I think so too.
we in the UK we only have to wear them in shops.
Really?
Right, but
Really?
yeah. You've got to wear them when you're near people. Is the point? If you've got to go within 2 meters of someone, what's that? 6 foot? 6 foot of someone.
Yeah, 6 foot.
You've got to wear a mask.
Here in Massachusetts, the governor Charlie Baker basically just told people, whenever you leave the house, whenever you're off your property, you got to have a mask on. It's as simple as that. It doesn't matter how far. Well, it is. It is, and it sends a message because we have very high rates right now in Massachusetts. I am not, I've stopped all of my social activities. I go for a walk. One of the places I go for a walk is a great cemetery, right? I think the nation's earliest cemetery, and it's palatial. There's a lot of space and not a lot of people over in Watertown, Cambridge. So that's really all I do. I drive my kid back to her mom's house, and I drive back here, and I'm just really waiting for a vaccine, or waiting for at least some sanity in terms of policy.
Something.
So that our rates go down.
Yeah. I've been stuck here since February. I get out every now and then and go to just pick up something from the store. But
James Henry says here in the chat, you will get a fine where he is €90 if you don't wear a mask in the city center.
Really? Is that like at all times?
From what he says, it's if you don't wear if you're wearing a mask. I mean, regardless of how close you are to people.
I understand. Yeah. Gotcha. That's cool. Here they had a thing where if you're out working out, like walking in Albuquerque, they've got a lot of walk paths.
Sure.
People walking everywhere. If you're out doing that, you don't have to wear your mask. They said. Now I remember I was out walking one day and I had my mask. It was just after the mask thing, and I was, do I put it on? Do I not put it on? I'm all alone on this path. There's a block ahead, a block behind. There's nobody around me, and I looked up as I come to this street light, and there's this guy. He's older than me. I say older. I started to say little old man, but I'm all gray, so I look like I'm old. But a little old man jogging by, and he's got a mask on, and I'm like, if he can do it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Here comes Kamala. Let's see what they got to say here.
I'm gonna love this SNL skit.
Good evening. Good evening. Thank you. Thank you. Good evening. So,
I'm all excited.
thank you. Good evening.
I'm 9. Sorry, guys.
So, Congressman John Lewis, before his passing, wrote, "Democracy is not a state, it is an act." And what he meant was that America's democracy is not guaranteed. It is only as strong as our willingness to fight for it. To guard it and never take it for granted. And protecting our democracy takes struggle. It takes sacrifice, but there is joy in it, and there is progress, because we, the people, have the power to build a better future. And when our very democracy was on the ballot in this election, with the very soul of America at stake, and the world watching, you ushered in a new day for America. To our campaign staff and volunteers, This extraordinary team, thank you for bringing more people than ever before into the democratic process. And for making this victory possible. To the poll workers and election officials across our country who have worked tirelessly to make sure every vote is counted, our nation owes you a debt of gratitude. You have protected the integrity of our democracy. And to the American people who make up our beautiful country, thank you for turning out in record numbers to make your voices heard. And I know times have been challenging, especially the last several months. The grief, sorrow, and pain, the worries and the struggles. But we have also witnessed your courage, your resilience.
He canceled himself. That's what happened.
They can still hear, though.
For 4 years,
can they still hear?
You marched and organized for equality and justice, for our lives and for our planet. And then you voted. And you delivered a clear message. You chose hope and unity, decency, science, and yes, truth. You chose Joe Biden as the next president of the United States of America. And Joe is a healer, a uniter, a tested and steady hand, a person whose own experience of loss gives him a sense of purpose that will help us as a nation reclaim our own sense of purpose. And a man with a big heart who loves with abandon. It's his love for Jill, who will be an incredible First Lady. It's his love for Hunter and Ashley and his grandchildren and the entire Biden family. And while I first knew Joe as vice president, I really got to know him as the father who loved Bo, my dear friend who we remember here today. And to my husband, Doug, and our children, Cole and Ella, and my sister Maya, and our whole family, I love y'all more than I can ever express. We are so grateful to Joe and Jill for welcoming our family into theirs on this incredible journey. And to the woman most responsible for my presence here today, my mother, Kamala Harris, who is always in our hearts. When she came here from India at the age of 19, she maybe didn't quite imagine this moment, but she believed so deeply in an America where a moment like this is possible. And so I am thinking about her and about the generations of women, Black women, Asian, white, Latina, Native American women, who throughout our nation's history have paved the way for this moment tonight. Women who fought and sacrificed so much for equality and liberty and justice for all, including the Black women who are often, too often, overlooked, but so often prove they are the backbone of our democracy. All the women who have worked to secure and protect the right to vote for over a century, 100 years ago with the 19th Amendment, 55 years ago with the Voting Rights Act, and now in 2020 with a new generation of women in our country who cast their ballots and continued the fight for their fundamental right to vote and be heard. Tonight I reflect on their struggle, their determination, and the strength of their vision to see what can be unburdened by what has been. And I stand on their shoulders. And what a testament it is to Joe's character that he had the audacity to break one of the most substantial barriers that exists in our country and select a woman as his vice president. But while I may be the first woman in this office, I will not be the last. Because every little girl watching tonight sees that this is a country of possibilities. And to the children of our country, regardless of your gender, our country has sent you a clear message. Dream with ambition, lead with conviction, and see yourselves in a way that others may not, simply because they've never seen it before. But know that we will applaud you every step of the way. And to the American people, no matter who you voted for, I will strive to be a vice president, like Joe was to President Obama, loyal, honest, and prepared, waking up every day thinking of you and your family. Because now is when the real work begins, the hard work, the necessary work, the good work, the essential work to save lives and beat this epidemic, to rebuild our economy so it works for working people, to root out systemic racism in our justice system and society, to combat the climate crisis, to unite our country and heal the soul of our nation. And the road ahead will not be easy, but America is ready. And so are Joe and I. We have elected a president who represents the best in us, a leader the world will respect and our children will look up to, a commander-in-chief who will respect our troops and keep our country safe, and a president for all Americans. And it is now my great honor to introduce the President-elect of the United States of America, Joe Biden.
You just had to jog up, didn't you?
my fellow Americans, and the people who brought me the dance, Delawareans. I see my buddy Senator Tom Carper down there, and I think Senator Coons is there, and I think the governor's around. And is that Ruth Ann? And that former Governor Ruth Ann Minner. Most importantly, my sisters-in-law, my sister Valerie. Anyway. Folks, the people of this nation have spoken. They've delivered us a clear victory, a convincing victory, a victory for we the people. We've won with the most votes ever cast on a presidential ticket in the history of the nation. 74 million. What I must admit has surprised me. Tonight, we're seeing all over this nation, all cities and all parts of the country, indeed across the world, an outpouring of joy, of hope, renewed faith in tomorrow, bring a better day. And I'm humbled by the trust and confidence you've placed in me. I pledge to be a president who seeks not to divide, but unify. Who doesn't see red states and blue states, only sees the United States. And work with all my heart, with the confidence of the whole people, to win the confidence of all of you. And for that is what America, I believe, is about. It's about people. And that's what our administration will be all about. I sought this office to restore the soul of America, to rebuild the backbone of this nation, the middle class, and to make America respected around the world again. And to unite us here at home. It's the honor of my lifetime that so many millions of Americans have voted for that vision. And now, the work of making that vision is real. It's a task, the task of our time. Folks, as I said many times before, I'm Jill's husband. And I would not be here without her love and tireless support of Jill and my son Hunter and Ashley, my daughter, and all our grandchildren and their spouses and all our family. They're my heart. Jill's a mom, a military mom, an educator. And she has dedicated her life to education. But teaching isn't just what she does, it's who she is. For American educators, this is a great day for y'all. You're going to have one of your own in the White House. And Jill's going to make a great First Lady. I'm so proud of her. And I'll have the honor of serving with the fantastic Vice President who you just heard from, Kamala Harris, who makes history as the first woman, first black woman, the first woman from South Asian descent, the first daughter of an immigrant ever elected in this country. Don't tell me it's not possible in the United States. It's long overdue. And we're reminded tonight of those who fought so hard for so many years to make this happen. But once again, America's bent the arc of the moral universe more toward justice. Kamala, Doug, like it or not, your family, you become an honorary Biden, there's no way out. To all those of you who volunteered and worked the polls in the middle of this pandemic, local elected officials, you deserve a special thanks from the entire nation. And to my campaign team and all the volunteers, and all who gave so much of themselves to make this moment possible, I owe you. I owe you. I owe you everything. And all those who supported us. I'm proud of the campaign we built and ran. I'm proud of the coalition we put together, the broadest and most diverse coalition in history. Democrats, Republicans, independents, progressives, moderates, conservatives, young, old, urban and suburban, rural, gay, straight, transgender, white, Latino, Asian, Native American. I mean it, especially those moments, and especially those moments where this campaign was at its lowest ebb. The African-American community stood up again for me. You've always had my back, and I'll have yours. I said at the outset, I wanted to represent this campaign to represent and look like America. We've done that. Now that's what I want the administration to look like and act like. For all those of you who voted for President Trump, I understand the disappointment tonight. I've lost a couple times myself, but now let's give each other a chance. It's time to put away the harsh rhetoric, lower the temperature, see each other again, listen to each other again. And to make progress, we have to stop treating our opponents as our enemies. They are not our enemies. They are Americans. They're Americans. The Bible tells us to everything there is a season, a time to build, a time to reap and a time to sow, and a time to heal. This is the time to heal in America. Now this campaign is over. What is the will of the people? What is our mandate? I believe it's this. Americans have called upon us to marshal the forces of decency, the forces of fairness, to marshal the forces of science and the forces of hope in the great battles of our time. The battle to control the virus, the battle to build prosperity, the battle to secure your family's health care, the battle to achieve racial justice and root out systemic racism in this country, and the battle to save our planet by getting climate under control, the battle to restore decency, defend democracy, and give everybody in this country a fair shot. That's all they're asking for, a fair shot. Folks, our work begins with getting COVID under control. We cannot repair the economy, restore our vitality, or relish life's most precious moments, hugging our grandchildren, our children, our birthdays, weddings, graduations, all the moments that matter most to us until we get it under control. On Monday, I will name a group of leading scientists and experts as transition
Chris, I can hear you.
to help take the Biden-Harris COVID plan and convert it into an action blueprint that will start on January the 20th, 2021. That plan will be built on bedrock science. It will be constructed out of compassion, empathy, and concern. I will spare no effort, none, or any commitment to turn around this pandemic. Folks, I'm a proud Democrat, but I will govern as an American president. I'll work as hard for those who didn't vote for me as those who did. Let this grim era of demonization in America begin to end here and now. The refusal of Democrats and Republicans to cooperate with one another, it's not some mysterious force beyond our control. It's a decision, a choice we make. And if we can decide not to cooperate, then we can decide to cooperate. And I believe that this is part of the mandate given to us from the American people. They want us to cooperate in their interest. And that's the choice I'll make. And I'll call on Congress Democrats and Republicans alike, to make that choice with me. The American story is about slow yet steadily widening the opportunities in America. And make no mistake, too many dreams have been deferred for too long. We must make the promise of the country real for everybody, no matter their race, their ethnicity, their faith, their identity, or their disability. Folks, America has always been shaped by inflection points, by moments in time where we've made hard decisions about who we are and what we want to be. Lincoln in 1860, coming to save the Union. FDR in 1932, promising a beleaguered country a new deal. JFK in 1960, pledging a new frontier. And 12 years ago, when Barack Obama made history, he told us, yes, we can. Well, folks, we stand at an inflection point. We have an opportunity to defeat despair, to build a nation of prosperity and purpose. We can do it. I know we can. I've long talked about the battle for the soul of America. We must restore the soul of America. Our nation is shaped by the constant battle between our better angels and our darkest impulses. And what presidents say in this battle matters. It's time for our better angels to prevail. Tonight, the whole world is watching America. And I believe at our best, America is a beacon for the globe. We will lead not only by the example of our power, but by the power of our example. I've always believed, many of you heard me say it, I've always believed we can define America in one word: possibilities. That in America, everyone should be given an opportunity to go as far as their dreams and God-given ability will take them. You see, I believe in the possibilities of this country. We're always looking ahead to an America that's freer and more just, ahead to an America that creates jobs with dignity and respect, ahead of America that cures diseases like cancer and Alzheimer's, ahead to an America that never leaves anyone behind, ahead of America that never gives up, never gives in. This is a great nation. It's always been a bad bet to bet against America. We're a good people. This is the United States of America, and there's never been anything we've been not able to do when we've done it together. Folks, in the last days of the campaign, I began thinking about a hymn that means a lot to me and my family, particularly my deceased son, Bo. It captures the faith that sustains me and which I believe sustains America. And I hope it can provide some comfort and solace the 230,000 Americans who've lost a loved one to this terrible virus this year. My heart goes out to each and every one of you. Hopefully this hymn gives you solace as well. It goes like this: and he will raise you up on eagle's wings, bear you on the breath of dawn, and make you to shine like the sun, and hold you in the palm of his hand. And now together, on eagle's wings, we embark on the work that God and history have called upon us to do. With full hearts and steady hands, with faith in America and in each other, with love of country, a thirst for justice, let us be the nation that we know we can be. A nation united, a nation strengthened, a nation healed. The United States of America, ladies and gentlemen, there's never been anything we've tried we've not been able to do. So remember, as our grandpapa used to say when I walked out of his home when I was a kid up in Scranton, he said, "Joey, keep the faith." And our grandmother, when she was alive, she yelled, "No, Joey, spread it. Spread the faith. God love you all. May God bless America, and may God protect our troops." Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Andy. So how do you really feel?
That was very bland, but
He hit all the talking points.
he did.
Well, the thing is, the better angels of our nature, very Obama, very Lincoln. I do support. I do. Yeah, he hit. He basically went over.
You ever listen to?
I just shut that off because I didn't realize I had myself on blast over here. Yeah, so better angels of our nature are very important, of course, blah, blah, blah. That faith stuff, he just had to ear F me with in both of my ears with that angel stuff. I don't know, man.
Kind of reminded me of a Katy Perry song.
I just lost my volume with you guys because, all right.
Can you guys hear me?
I can now hear you. I'm sorry. I just completely... Okay. I am transitioning from the iPad to this. And
somebody cut our audio in the middle, so we had to go and listen to the speech elsewhere.
Thank you, Dave, for being able to make sense out of the chaos here. I do appreciate it.
I don't know what happened. I screwed it up.
Do you not? You muted yourself.
You muted yourself. You muted yourself, and so we had to switch over. I switched over to my iPad to listen to the show. And then I was talking, and then because I'm an idiot, I had to plug in and out. And but yeah, Joe Biden talking about Ecclesiastes is the book. I guess that's when things are all going to heck in a handbasket over it. Okay, so the God stuff just has to go in my mind. It just drives a spike. Having been a survivor of crazy Christianity,
Christians that need that base to hold.
Oh, man, they are such the freaking problem in this country. Jesus is the problem.
Yes.
I mean, everything else is nice. Preach. Don't get me wrong. I've never been happy to see Joe Biden before in my life. I got excited about seeing him, and it was good. He did his little jog and everything. Like I said, in the chat, very Obama-ish with the better angels of our nature. Good speech. He didn't have to ear F me with all the God stuff, but hey, this is who Joe Biden is. This is who he is.
Well, it reminded me of one of those Katy Perry songs where, it's like it's nothing but a string of cliches. That's all the entire song is nothing. What is it? Roar? Nothing but a whole list of one cliche that after the other. One cliche after another cliche after another cliche. Got to the Ecclesiastes and I saw you tuning out.
Oh yeah. I was gonna start writing about the book on the chat, and they said no, this is gonna take me too long to actually write about. And so I'm just I'm gonna let it go. I tried to go to my happy place somewhere in my head, but no, I couldn't go there. I just couldn't go there.
Anything on the Trump tweet yet? Any word out of Trump yet?
No, nothing from him or any of his family.
Well,
any of his family, because I haven't been monitoring them. I did make it. I think. What's that?
That list on screen is just Joe, Kamala.
I
actually know her name. Kamala. And the Trump and his kids.
Oh, unfortunately, we can't really read what it says on.
No, but if it moves.
If it moves. There we go.
Yes, be wary.
It's tiny. I know you can't read it.
No, there was a. Let me see here.
Kamala. Just theoretically it says Kamala.
Yes.
If you've noticed, the only thing I call when I refer to her, I say Vice President Harris. I don't even try to pronounce her name, to tell you the truth. I've given up. I have given up. I'll refer to her as Senator Harris when she was senator, and now I'm gonna just say Vice President Harris because I know I just get it wrong consistently. That's my problem. I realize the problem is all about me. It's my problem. So that's why I'm just going to work around it with saying Vice President Harris, at least for the next 4 years, unless I get to say President Harris, because that's a possibility too. I'm not cool enough to say it. I am not cool enough to say Vice President Harris's name. I'm not.
Rhymes with Mamala.
Mamala.
That does not help.
But you're from Boston, so you're gonna say
I am from Boston. I'm gonna speak the Queen's freaking English over here. I'm speaking the Queen's English.
Yeah. So that's how I got it. It rhymes with Mamala, so it's Kamala. I heard her say Mamala Kamala, and that's how I remembered. I got it pornographically locked in here. You know, I got tired of people getting mad at me because I didn't say it right. I'm like, listen, you don't. Whenever you see a Hispanic person say "Hello, Christopher," you don't go, "Hey, his name isn't Christopher."
Chris, you're getting into dangerous territory, brother. Just stop the argument. Just.
No. But you saw what I'm saying. Just saying.
Just stop.
People don't do that.
This is our. By the way, everyone.
I'm gonna mute you, dude. Let me finish my sentence. I'm serious, dude. So I'm just saying. I learned how to say it properly, so I wouldn't have to go through that problem, though. And I'm telling you how to say it properly. Mamla Kamala. Anyway.
Vice President Harris.
As you wish. But I learned. I was like, oh, I don't know how to do this. Let me go learn how to do it. So I went and did it. But you know, we got what we expected from them. You know,
we did.
It's what we expect from Trump. What happens from Trump and the folk, the GOP? What does Mitch McConnell do?
Pirate 7077 reference to you, Chris. Did he say pornographically locked in here? He did say that, Pirate 7077. You did say that by mistake, Chris. I think that might have been a Freudian slip there. But I was going to let it go. But then the chat's merciless.
Right. Yeah. That's actually a bastardization of a couple of my little sayings. One of them's "lock safe in here." I stole that from some show I saw somewhere. Right. And the other one was "pornographically memorized" instead of "photographically memorized." I say "pornographically memorized." It's just like a joke my dad used to do. So,
okay, all right. As long as it was intentional, this isn't some kind of dementia creeping in.
Bit of both.
A bit of both. Sweet.
Do you think there is anything that separates that speech from any other normal president?
No, I think it's a boilerplate speech. You know, he did throw. You know, there was some Biden stuff in there, of course, about his personal life. But every single politician is going to do some personal life stuff in there.
Of course.
The better angels of our nature, at least reference to that line. As soon as I heard that, well, actually, a few minutes before that, he said that line. It's like, oh, I'm going to hear better angels of our nature within a very short period of time. And it's like, if I was going to play bingo and I had that on my bingo card, I would have screamed bingo right there. So yeah, you know, it was nice. I will tell you that. As my girlfriend said in the chat, you know, it's nice to hear a person in government stitch together two coherent sentences. So, that's true. You know, it is going to be refreshing just to have him and not Trump around. Yeah.
After November 20th.
After January 20th. Get the timeline down.
Thank you. Don't make you break out the cards. I understand.
You're going to break down the cards, right. So if I was Joe Biden, I would either be doing one of two things. I'd either be in a public space as much as humanly possible, or I'd be in my bunker in case Trump does something crazy and does try to arrest him. I would be in one of those two places. Be somewhere where everyone can see it happen when the van pulls up to drag you into your the Black Ops site, or just be in the danger room. Or that's a reference to the X-Men there, Havoc. Or just be in your panic room until January 20th. One of those two things.
This was the question I asked yesterday, and I didn't get a good answer to it. Who are Secret Service more loyal to now?
From what I've seen of the institutions, Trump hasn't been able. You know, I've used this metaphor before, and I'll use it again. You know, dictators take a while to digest democratic institutions. The stronger the democratic institutions, the longer it takes to digest. So imagine Trump as like eating this really big rabbit, and the rabbit is representative of our democratic institutions. It takes a long time to devour, to digest that animal. And so I don't think he's had enough time to completely...
Put your mask on! Sorry.
Okay, Granddad. So he has not had time to completely usurp all of the executive branch of government. In fact, if he had another 4 years, he would have gone. I saw some predictions that he would have tried to make it more of a personal fiefdom than it is now. So to your answer, I think the Secret Service are still loyal to the offices to the United States of America and to the Constitution.
My point being, would the Secret Service now prevent Biden being arrested?
Well, if Trump was going to have him arrested, it would probably be by one of the many armed executive branches that like for an example, I don't know.
From the
I'm just looking at a list
Justice,
of
right?
Yeah, I mean someone.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have to be
Department
the
of
Secret
Justice.
Service wouldn't be arresting him, but it would be some institution that would. But I don't think Trump has that kind of power. If there was a dictator who was more motivated and smarter than Trump, which is what we should be worried about in the future, then I think then we would have to have a real concern there, because one of the things that Hitler did, and I know I talk about Hitler a lot in World War II, but this is my time to talk about these things, about fascism. One of the things Hitler did was that he had officers and soldiers in the Wehrmacht, in the German military, do pledge loyalty to him personally and not to the state. We are not even close to that point.
We saw it from the start of his premiership.
Right.
People having to sign contracts being loyal to him. And since you brought up Hitler, I can do a joke. What's the same thing about Hitler and Trump?
What?
They both found out that their regime was over in a bunker.
That's funny. I like that. That's a golf joke there.
Yes,
very nice.
That's
very nice.
Yeah. Unfortunately, the endings were different. I'm just saying.
Hey, you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what's going to happen.
You don't know. I'm one of those who is for non-forgiveness for the politicians and all this. They've raped our country. We need to go after them. So yeah, hopefully there will be a bunker moment.
So Havoc says, my dad is a retired colonel and worked for the U.S. House for 20 years. Yes, the Secret Service will prohibit any arrest of the president-elect. So that's right, because Biden is now the president-elect. He has Secret Service protection. So if anyone's going to try to arrest him, it would be a shooting. There would be something happening, something bad happening between the people who are protecting him and the people trying to arrest him. So once again, it's so that's where we're at.
Yep, and still no movement on the Twitter list, huh?
No.
Okay, I'm
waiting. I think someone might take his phone off him.
What's that?
They may.
Someone might have taken his phone off him.
I've wondered about that before.
There's always a chance that the man has a stroke or something. There's always a chance that this just drives him over the edge. He's not a healthy guy.
Dear sweet baby Jesus, if you're listening, please answer Andy's prayers.
Do you know what? And the number of
Carry
people.
on, Andy.
Have you seen the number of cases of people that have come out of hospital after COVID, have been fine for a week or two, and their heart's just gone?
Yep. This is true. It's scary. That's what it is. It's scary. So that's a chance.
Jesus.
and he's not a healthy guy. He is not a healthy guy. He's been punishing his body for decades at this point. Diane Russell says he's probably too busy stuffing cheeseburgers in his face right now.
Could be. Did you see the Betty Bowers?
Binge eating. See the what?
The Betty Bowers.
Oh, I have not. I know that she dropped a video. I have not seen it yet.
It's only about 15 seconds long of him throwing things in the White House. Cheeseburgers and
nice.
I'll find that video and I'll play it here. I'm not scared.
So, Chris, are we going to wrap things up? We've been doing this for over 2 hours. What's our plan?
Well,
here?
I think so, probably, because at this point, we're not anticipating a real reaction out of Donald Trump, right? I mean, we might do something tomorrow. If there's some kind of craziness, up to you. I'm not afraid to do some streaming. I have found the video of Betty Bowers. I'll play it real quick if you're okay with that.
Sure,
for
if
the
you want
people
to.
At the place. Go. Hold. Wait 1 second. Okay, here we go. And a 1, and a 2.
As election results are coming in, there is some sort of commotion going on in the residence behind me. Some man is screaming, and I don't know if you can hear that. But that was a Big Mac being flung at a TV screen. Oh, now it's poo. Yes, someone is definitely flinging poo. Back to you.
Nice.
Somebody was flinging poo. We called that, Andy, on this very show. Poo flinging.
Poo flinging is a thing. Yes. Very chimpy. That's what that is.
We prognosticated. Okay, guys. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you, Dave, for out of nowhere
Dave.
surprise joining us. Appreciate it.
Always pleasure to have a bread on. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you, and thank you, Andy, and thank you to everybody in the chat for showing up and watching the events with us. If anything crazy goes down, if craziness happens upon us, we'll do a surprise pop stream. We'll be there.
I just want to say tomorrow night, I actually am streaming with a blogger from Pathos Non-Religious. He's a photographer too, Pat LaFood Green. He'll be on at 7 p.m. Eastern. We'll be talking for about an hour about atheism, trans issues probably, photography, who knows what else. It's going to be crazy as it usually is here on well, I am unhinged. My guests typically are not.
Awesome. All right. Dave, do you got anything coming up you want to shout out? You're going to start doing stuff. I got your links below too, so don't forget to subscribe to Dave.
We're going, because we've gone into lockdown in the UK, I'm starting Critical Questions again every day from 3 o'clock UK, which is, I forget what time, I'll work it out.
I think it's like 10 a.m. here.
Yeah, 10 or... 10 yeah, so somewhere around, 8 or 10.
Somewhere around
somewhere along there.
Sometime after the show.
Often just after the show, so... Awesome. So those of you, if you're not subscribed, he's got some fun stuff going over there. He popped his exercise ball. That was fun. You should go watch that. Yeah. All right, guys. I'm going to head off to save the world. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you, everybody. Be safe. Take care. We will see you Monday. Otherwise, we'll see you Monday. Take care.
Be strong.
Oh, wait. I'm going to run that commercial.
Run the commercial.
Because there's a lot more people watching at the end than watch the beginning. At the beginning of every show, I go, hello and welcome to the Daily Atheist. I'm Chris, and my host will be here in just a minute after this. Today's world is confusing, and there's too much information for one person to make sense of it all. Which credit card should I pay off first? Is non-fat milk good for me? Who should I vote for? Let's face it, if you can't figure out high-interest milk, then how can you be expected to make political decisions that influence a country of over 325 million people? Well, that's why there's fascism. Fascism is the political, social, and economic system for today's world. The Merriam-Webster Dictionary defines fascism as a political philosophy, movement, or regime that exalts a nation, and often race, above the individual, and that stands for a centralized autocratic government headed by a dictatorial leader, severe economic and social regimentation, and forcible suppression of the opposition. Choose this ideology and life will be easy. Did you ever look at someone who uses really big words and think, I wish those libtards would just disappear? Well, under fascism, your dreams can come true. Under fascism, you won't have to worry about the pesky little things like brown people or atheists, or who in your country is entitled to basic human rights and who is not. Hint, hint, the answer is nobody. Yes, friends, this truly is the final solution you've been looking for. And if you're concerned if this form of authoritarianism will be up to your high standards, don't worry. American fascism will be the best fascism in the world because it's been endorsed by Jesus. So go out and destroy freedom and democracy by getting fascism today. Paid for by the Fascio-Conservative Party, formerly known as the GOP. Thank you for watching the show. A special shout out to my gold level Patreon supporters, Cindy Plaza and Ian Davenport. Thank you and have a great day.